Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hope you're having a fantastic start to your week. Running a little late today, but that's all right. Happy to be here. We have a super duper exciting week. It's World's Week, first off, that's exciting. It's also the week leading up to National Disc Golf Day, which is exciting. I'm gonna talk about that here in a second. Sorry, let me figure out this mic, crank it up a little bit. YouTube, let me know if you can hear me. I'm doing this through YouTube's platform instead of through my normal streaming stuff. So um, fingers crossed you can hear me on YouTube. But Instagram, I see some people saying they just got a okay, y'all can hear me. Perfect. Um, just got your Aceathon disc and stuff. That's awesome. Let me run through some of the releases this week. Let me quit out of some of these background uh, apps. It makes my computer run better. So first off, we've got the prototype streak from Climo Discs drops today. Actually, Elevation Discs. We have some new stuff. The Echo Firm Capybara. I forget. I don't remember how to say that animal, but that we have the Blank Nimbus. We also have some more Kois from Elevation that's dropping this week. We have some hand-eye stuff, including a Meta Essence from Discmania. We also have Lucid Felons, Glimmer Warrants, Tournament Swords, Gold Ice Burst Claymore, Fusion Motives, BT Medium Moonshine Maidens, Orbit Sears, all from Trilogy. Discraft, we have the ESP Sagara just dropped last week, so that's live on the site. We're also this week dropping the lightweight Jawbreaker Challenger Buzz Scorch. We're also going to have a restock on the Tour Series Luna. We're also going to have some ESP Zone OSs, some ESP Passions, some Z and ESP Cicadas. A lot of fun stuff going on there. From DGA, we have some Atmos Plastic Quakes, Typhoons, and limited edition Sonars. And then we also yesterday just dropped the phone case Canyons from Trash Panda. And the MVP pre-order is still live on the site. But none of that's as cool as what I'm about to tell you, which I'm super, super stoked about for this weekend. So you might have seen it on Foundation's YouTube. We have a stream scheduled for Friday, and it's just titled like "Watching this stream will grow disc golf" or something like that. It's titled something like that. But basically, what we're doing is Friday, we have partnered with Prodigy to bring a disc with we're super stoked for this. So essentially, we're going to go live at 12 on Friday, and the disc pre-order is going to drop at the same time. Why we're doing a pre-order is we don't want to limit what's possible for this. And essentially what it is there's going to be a custom stamped, I believe we're going with Distortion or A5. I actually don't know the exact disc, but it's 400 plastic. The disc mold doesn't really matter, to be completely frank with you. We're selling those with a stamp on it that says, "This disc grew disc golf." And it's very literal, because what we're going to do is we've partnered with Prodigy to make the financial side of this work. But basically, every one of those discs bought for every A5 and PA5, those are your two options. For every one of those discs bought on Friday, we are going to be donating the A5 is what you can buy. The PA5 is what we're going to be donating to local PE classes in schools. There's several in the area that teach disc golf. And then if, it exceeds what our local schools need, then we'll be donating to other areas, schools, edge disc golf, stuff like that. So for every disc bought on Friday, every one of the This Disc Grew disc golf A5s, every one of those bought will be one disc donated. It's the Tom Shoe model, if you will. So we're super excited about that, because that leads into Saturday is National Disc Golf Day. So this whole weekend, we're going to run the pre-order. And then Prodigy is going to be stamping both of those, so the PA5s and the A5s. And the PA5s are going to be donating to local school programs, to Edge Disc Golf, to all of that. And in addition to that, the live stream Friday, is 100% of the super chats and everything from that live stream are going to be donated to Edge, Educational Disc Golf Experience, which is a charity, a 501c3 that explicitly exists to get disc golf into schools and teach the next generation about disc golf. They've already introduced disc golf to over 2 million kids. And we're super excited to help them farther that and hopefully push it to 3 million and 4 million, and grow the future of the sport, as well as a portion of sales this weekend are also going to go to that. So this weekend is a huge focus on growing the sport of disc golf. and partnering with people who are doing so. So we're super, super excited for that. I know we're really excited. We work with several. We actually just put a course in at a local elementary school, and there's several different PE teachers around here that are really passionate about disc golf. So we're very excited to be able to donate some discs to them via y'all buying discs. So that's going to be this weekend. So Friday, that's the big thing this weekend. Is every one of those A5s bought 1-for-1. Every one of those is one disc donated. So I think we're also going to, if I remember correctly, also all of the A5s that are bought this weekend will also come with a discount code for our backhand basics course. So that if you, wow, that's hilarious. I forgot that it did the heart thing. Sorry, YouTube. Our backhand basics course. So if you don't want to throw the A5 or you just want to buy it to give to a buddy or whatever, you can also give them, hey, here's a course to teach you all the basics of how to throw a disc. So we're hoping people are also going to buy discs with the intention of, hey, this is awesome because me buying this disc is going to give a disc to introduce someone to the sport of disc golf, but also I can buy it and give it to my buddy and give him the here's how to throw a disc course and introduce him to the sport of disc golf. So we're hoping to really make an impact this weekend on growing the game. And we're looking to y'all to partner with us. But we're super, super excited about that. It's going to be an awesome weekend ahead. So lots of other non-grow disc golf releases this weekend, but we're super stoked about Friday. So be sure to tune in Friday. It's going to go live at 12, which should be around the end of the MPO round. I don't know the exact tee times, but it'll probably be with a few holes left in the MPO round. So you can just kind of have the MPO in one tab, us in the other. And what we're doing for the stream Friday is we're going to be live until we make 4 trick shots. So me, Trevor, and Silas will each have 1 trick shot that we have to make. And then the 4th one, I believe any of us can make, I believe is how the stream's going to work. And to encourage super chats, because remember, 100% of the super chats are going to Edge. So we want to raise as much money for Edge as possible. To encourage the super chats during the first hour of attempting each trick shot, there will be modifiers that can be purchased, such as throwing lefty, move 10 feet farther away, yada, yada, yada. So we're super stoked for that. So check that out Friday. Even if you can't buy a disc, you don't want to buy a disc, you don't want a super chat, but you still want to support what we're doing, just watching that stream will help it perform better and therefore will help it raise more money and raise more awareness for the disc, yada, yada, yada. So even if you can't or don't want to buy a disc or donate to the stream or anything like that, just watch the stream Friday, throw it on a tab and in the background and let it roll. And we're super excited. So Friday, the day before National Disc Golf Day, we're going to do as much as we can to grow the sport of disc golf. So we're super stoked for this weekend. Should be an absolute blast. But yeah, World starts tomorrow. The preview show will come out today. Very, very excited about Worlds as well. So, okay, let's answer some questions. I got some from Instagram and some from YouTube coming in, so I'll do my best to answer as many as possible. Jonah J. LCC said, don't know if this is the place to ask the question, but how long have you been in your faith? This is the place to ask any question. I'm an open book. I was born and raised in a Christian home, always went to church. But my relationship with Jesus started in 8th grade history class. So that would put it 2000. When would 8th grade have been? How old am I? 2015, I graduated high school. So 15 was 12th, 14, 13, 12, 2011. So that would be 14 years ago now that I genuinely became a Christian, genuinely surrendered my heart and life to Jesus was in 8th grade history class. And funny fact, I still meet with my 8th grade history teacher on a semi-regular basis. Shout out Mr. Combs. He's been a huge influence in my life. So, yeah. Let's see. Brokey said, can we talk about the Aceathon controversy? Because I have an opinion. Throw your opinion in the chat. I've already talked about it a bunch, but I will happily read your opinion and see. When do the Aceathon pre-orders come in? I don't know when the pre-orders. I think they were supposed to be stamped early this week, which would mean we will probably get them next week. Once we have them in hand and ship them out, that's when we'll set the like official. This is the end date of the Aceathon. Right now, it's August 18th, but we want to give even the people with the because the point of that was like a month from ship date was when it ended. So we'll do the same thing. Once the Aceathon pre-order comes in and we ship them, we'll have a month from that day. So most likely we're going to be looking basically end of August is most likely when the Aceathon official end date will be, but it will go past August 18th. Yes. Because we have to make it fair to the people who got in on the pre-order. So we haven't announced what the official end date will be because we don't want to announce it and then the pre-orders get delayed and whatever. So most likely it'll be the end of August, but it will for sure go past the 18th. For sure. No doubt about that. So it gives the people who bought on the 18th more time to ace, but it gives the people who bought the pre-order the same intended time as we originally had. So yeah. Are we stocking the Proto Streak today? Yes, they will drop at. I just read it. It seems like 10 a.m. today is when they drop. So probably in like 8 minutes, unless that's 10 a.m. a different time zone. But yeah, they do drop today. Brokioki said, I think allowing second order to go through cheapen the experience for people who bought them. I think it should be a single drop of, say, 500 discs, but limited to 2 per customer. So we didn't limit it because we didn't limit it last year. And with it being an ace disc, we want people to have the option to buy 10 if that means that they can get a better ace. The real issue was just we didn't have enough this year because if there's the option of I can buy 10 and it still takes an hour to sell out, that's the perfect scenario. That's the best case scenario, right? Problem this year, which first off, let me just clarify. I think there's yes, some people got stacks, right? There's been some people that got 5 to 10. But the average order was 1.4, I believe, discs in an order. That was the average order for that drop. So the average person got 1. So that's where the really the issue was just the amount of people that wanted 1 was way higher than we thought. So now we know that next year and we can adjust our ordering as needed because like I said, we want people to be able, we don't want it to be, it's a miserable experience because I've done it of trying to just ace with 1 or 2 discs and you just throw them at the hole and you walk down and you grab them. So I don't mind people buying 5 to 10. The issue was just we didn't have enough on hand. So people bought so we just sold out too fast. If we were in the same exact boat and we sold out in an hour, there'd probably be 0 complaints. But yeah, is what it is. So Crispier Nugget said, do I see the future of Foundation more as a media company rather than a retail company? I think I see Foundation currently more as a media company than a retail company. But I think they go hand in hand. I think that media is retail in a lot of ways. Like the whole reason our retail exists is because our media exists, right? Like that's what drives the retail side. So I think I already kind of see it. I do think that there is more room for expansion for Foundation on the media side. And I also think there's more room for us to push the sport and grow the sport on the media side. So that's what interests me more than the retail side. But I think the retail side, they go hand in hand. So yeah, I think that, yes, I see more as a media company, mainly because I see us right now as a media company that sells discs. But yeah. Caleb JK said, if you were a participant in the Aceathon challenge and won, what would be my dream course? So there's kind of 2 ways to go about it. I can either pick a course I've never played, or I can pick a course I have played and know I love. I think it'd be hard not to choose Maple Hill. Actually, we're going to Maple Hill next week. You didn't hear me say that, but we are super stoked for that. Um, I think it'd probably have to be Maple Hill. I have other courses I want to play, but, like, if I had a free trip to any disc golf course in America, it'd be hard not to pick that one. One I'm kinda selfishly hoping people pick, given that we're going to play Maple Hill next week, is Thunderbird Gardens because, because it's the most gorgeous scenery for a course. The course itself is fine. It's not like anything crazy, but it's basically in what you call it. It's basically in Zion National Park. Like it looks like you're playing in a national park. Just red rocks, mountains everywhere, big old drop offs. It's crazy. So yeah. When's the sub 25K? Logan, we try to set realistic goals. I set that goal, learned it wasn't realistic. But I think basically my life's going to go one of two ways after the Richmond Marathon. I'm either going to run a sub 140 Richmond half marathon, and then I'm either going to be like, I loved that. That was a lot of fun. I want to do a marathon again. And if so, I'll probably try to sign up for the Austin Marathon in February. Or I'm going to say, yeah, the half marathon's as far as I want to run right now. I don't want to go farther. And I'll try to run a really fast 5K, which then the next 5K goal would be sub 20. So my life's going to go one of two ways. We'll find out in November. Come to Idlewild, please. We went to Idlewild this past summer, just a few weeks ago. Gary said this weekend, who finishes farthest away, positive or negative, compared to their average finish, Silva or Niklas? I mean, I'd have to go Niklas, mainly because I think Silva's about to win. I think Silva's going to win this weekend, and her average finish has to be close to top 3. So I think Niklas has a better chance because he has a worse average finish. If you're near Maple Hill and don't hit mile marker 63, you're missing out. Meteoric rise on its first year in top 100 list. I think we're planning to check that out. But yeah. Tyler said Lake Marshall's amazing. When you guys go and play that course, we need to. The tough part, literally, it's funny because we've traveled to so many places to play disc golf, and Lake Marshall we haven't played, and it's because it's at that perfect distance where it's like just too far away because there's 2 courses there. It's like just too far away that it's a like really long day trip to like drive. I think it's like a little over 3 hours, if I remember correctly. It's a long day trip to drive 3 hours to play there and then drive back, but it's like so close that we don't want to go spend it overnight to go there. So it's like that's literally the only reason we haven't went. But we need to go. We need to go to Lake Marshall. I've heard too many good things. Is Silva the new Kristen? Too soon. Too soon to say. I don't know. I think Silva is the closest thing we've seen to Kristen in a while. But Kristen's could still be Kristen if Kristen just makes some putts. So I haven't given up on Kristen yet. She's just going through a putting slump. It could end this week. She could come out and be on fire and she could win worlds. And then there is no need for a new Kristen if that happens. So I'm not giving up on Kristen yet. So I won't, but I do think that Silva is the closest in the scheme of like what made Kristen so good and what still makes Kristen so good, because let's not act like she's not still coming top 2, is Kristen knows her game, sticks within her game, right? So she just plays her style of disc golf and lets everyone around her fall to her. And so Silva, I think, is a very similar thing of like Silva's not going to try something outside of her scope. She's not going to push anything too far, and she's just going to let the field fall to her. So I think that's where they're the closest. But yeah, I'm not going to say Silva's the new Kristen yet. Kristen's had a few bad weeks, guys. Okay, it could all go away. Kendall said, check your DMs. I messaged you a clip, proof of Trevor's hate for Calvin. I've seen a lot of proof over the last day or two. So, yeah. Have I looked at the underdog line? Seems to be some free ones. I haven't, to be honest with you. Basically, underdog dropped, released at the beginning of this year. I put like whatever minimum deposit to get a match on, um, and did that. And then I tweeted out my affiliate link and I got a bunch of free money from the affiliate link. And then I lost, I think it was like $10 I put in. I lost the $10 plus. Well, actually, first thing I did, this is hilarious. I've never made money on disc golf ever. So I lost the money I put on disc golf, but I had a bonus bet and I didn't realize the bonus bet expired. So the bonus bet expired or was going to expire. And I was like, crap, let me just throw this all on an NBA game. I haven't watched a lick of NBA. This was at Music City. Haven't watched a lick of NBA. So I throw it on a 3-leg NBA thing, make $180. Pulled that out, right? And just had the bonus money in there. And then, so I turned 10 into 180. And then I had a bunch of free bets from people using my Twitter link. And then I slowly lost all of that money through Champions Cup, I think it was. And so I haven't looked at Underdog since then because I think I've proven to myself I suck at knowing what's going to happen in a disc golf tournament. So I just don't even mess with it. I think Kristen will get back. I also think Silva's young with great gains yet to be seen. Yeah. The good part of Silva is like she still has a lot of distance to develop. She can't really develop her putter more. She's a disgusting putter. She still can develop a really good forehand. So like there's a lot of aspects of Silva's game that can really increase. So Silva's ceiling, I think, is actually higher than Kristen's, mainly because Kristen's age is she's not old by any means, but like she's not getting any younger. Versus Silva is kind of where Kristen is currently, but she still has time before she hits her athletic prime. So I don't like Kristen obviously could still get better, especially from where she is right now. She just has to make some putts. But I don't think Kristen's all of a sudden going to gain a bunch of distance or change up her game, whereas Silva has the potential to do that. So Silva, I think, has a higher ceiling. It's just, can she get there? I don't know. Gannon has 3 more years that he plays the same way he has this year with similar results and follows that with 7 year of average top 10 play. Is he the GOAT? It all, unfortunately, in our sport, it all comes down to how many, like, is Gannon able to win multiple worlds? If no, then, no. Because I think that when you're looking at the greatest of all times in our sport, the two names right now are Paul McBeth and Ken Climo. And there's a good argument for both of them. I think there's probably a slightly stronger argument for Paul, in my opinion. But there's a really solid argument for both of them. But for Gannon to eclipse them, he needs to show, like, the level of dominance Gannon showed last year, in my opinion, is the greatest disc golf season ever seen. But one season's a lot different from a career. And Paul has 6 world titles, winning multiple of them in the modern era. He has won Paul hasn't technically Grand Slammed because he's missing Champions Cup. But he's won pretty much every major in front of him except for Champions Cup. And when you're looking at Gannon has multiple major wins, but he's missing Champions Cup and Worlds. But Worlds being the big one, where that's the thing that everyone has but Gannon that's on the GOAT list or even close to the GOAT list. So if Gannon just stacks up a bunch of Pro Tour wins and never wins Worlds, then he'll probably be the greatest player to have never won the big one. But I think Gannon knows that. I think that Gannon's going to win this weekend. I really do. I think it just makes sense to me. I think it's either going to be Gannon or Isaac, to be honest with you. But if he doesn't, and that goes on for enough years, then he can't. I just think he can't be the GOAT if he never won Worlds. Same thing of like, he can't be the GOAT. Like, it's tough. Paul, I think, can be the GOAT without winning Champions Cup because Champions Cup is such a young major, right? Versus Gannon hasn't won every major of his era. Paul won every major and then some of his era, like when Paul was in his prime. So that's going to be kind of the tough one. But like, if you don't win all of the majors, I don't think you can be considered the GOAT. Because like even Climo never had a chance at winning Champions Cup. That didn't exist. But he won every major of his era. Paul's in the same boat where Paul's won every major of his era except for Champions Cup. But you can always make the argument of, well, Champions Cup has come in towards the end of Paul's prime. Because I think Paul's still in his prime. I think he could still, honestly, the more Paul plays right now, the more it hurts his legacy unless he wins. So Gannon has to win, I think, at least 2 to 3 worlds to be in the conversation, just because there's guys who've done it. There's plenty of guys who've done it. So he's definitely the closest thing walking right now to, contending with Paul and Kenny as the GOAT. But at this point, I think Isaac Robinson might be closer, because if Isaac keeps dominating majors and he picks up, if Isaac ends up with 10 majors to Gannon's 5 or 4, well, then how much are Pro Tour wins worth if a guy has twice the majors during Gannon's prime? That's going to be a tough one, and probably neither of them will end up being a GOAT. So, yeah. Kyle Crow says, how has Brody improved Foundation's company in your eyes since joining ownership? I think the easiest way to describe this is, I think the majority of people watching right now would not be watching if it wasn't for Brody Smith. And I know most people kind of joined us post Brody living in Lynchburg and stuff like that. But when Brody came into the company in 2020, we were a retailer that just kind of had social media as a fun thing that we did on the side, right? Brody brought in audience and expertise in the social media area that expedited our process of understanding that where we are today was even possible, understanding that YouTube could be a huge leg, and media in general, social media in general, could be a huge leg of the company. And then he pushed us kind of into that, to where I think that, we've done most of our growth 2021 to 2025. Like, that's been where most of our, I think we crossed 50,000 subscribers in like 2022 or 2023. And so from there to where we are now, almost 100,000 more subscribers later, like, a lot of that growth came post Brody living here. But the whole reason was from what we learned and gleaned from Brody while he was here, and also his ideology of how we could progress and move forward. So I think most of it is intangible. Like, obviously, yes, there was the Brody bump where we sold out of all the discs that first weekend, where we had the initial growth from Brody buying in and his audience coming over and that stuff. Like, yes, all of that. But obviously that doesn't necessarily directly affect today. But what does directly affect today is the mindset and understanding of social media that Brody brought in, and how he kind of pushed us into turning into what Foundation is today. So I think that's more how he improved Foundation as a company, if that makes sense. Rolling Game said, what is the funniest nickname you've ever had with no context? Probably Fish. Started with Fisher, went to Fish, but no context. I won't go any past that. Spencer J said, recently found a Connor Shaman stamp premium wizard in a used bin. Was this a specific run that was released or a misprint? I love it. It was for April Fools. Our April Fools subscription box had a Connor Shaman stamped wizard, a Trevor Cash stamped flip, and a Hunter Bird stamped destroyer as like our fun April Fish. I just read Fisher in the comments. April Fool's Day subscription box. So like the discs looked like something different than they were. So that's what that's from. And funny enough, I actually see the Connor Shaman wizards being sold and flipped more than I see Connor Shamans, even though we've sold more Connor Shamans for sure. But yeah. So. Matt May said, do you currently make more off selling stock discs or social media revenue streams? Social media revenue streams, including merch sold with social media stamps. So this is always an interesting one, because I don't really know what people mean by that. If we're talking top line revenue, so not profit, then I would say stock still holds that, because if you take personality stamps and you throw that into social media, it gets much closer, much closer. But if we're just looking top line revenue, retail as a whole, which includes the personality and stuff like that, retail as a whole is much larger. But obviously all of that comes with cost. Like if we buy this disc for, we'll just use basic math. We'll say this disc costs 10, we sell it for 20. Obviously we did $20 in sales, but we only have $10 margin. And then out of that, you have credit card fees, subscription for our website, the back end stuff, you have fulfillment costs, you have all that. So like all of a sudden the $10 you make off this disc might be cut down to 5, right? Somewhere in there, maybe less. I don't know. So you all of a sudden that $20 of sales might result in $5 actually hitting your books, right? Versus social media, it's just the money that comes in. The only cost associated with it was the employee hours to create the content. So if you look at it it takes a lot less social media revenue to cover expenses than it does retail revenue. So our retail side revenue wise is much bigger, but our media side generates a lot more of the profit, if that makes sense. Obviously it's all in the same pot, so it probably doesn't actually equate exactly like that, but hopefully that makes sense. Because we get that question a lot and it's always a tough one to answer, because the other thing is, without the media side, our retail side is nowhere near as big as it is. Especially if you pull out, like you're asking, the custom stamps and all of that. Like that is the custom stamps, which would include in the subscription box. Like that's a huge chunk of our retail revenue. So if you pull all that out, now I don't even know, but I know social media is way bigger. If you're putting all the personality, all the apparel, all the foundation custom stamp stuff, all of that into social media, then it's way bigger. But yeah, hopefully that makes sense. Caleb said, is Atlas more of a side project for y'all, or do you see it growing into more of a focal point in the future? For me, Atlas is definitely more of a side project. I think that it has potential to grow. But as the owner of Foundation, and Foundation being larger, it consumes much more focus and time and energy. Oh, I'm gonna have to go here really soon because we're having an issue with my dog. So I'm gonna do like one more question and then I'm gonna hop off because I've got to call my wife about something with my dog who just had surgery last week. So hopefully it's not too serious, but okay. Figure that out. Clean only. I was reading the terms and conditions for Aceathon. I believe one of the rules is meaning no rollers, aces, or skip aces. Is that correct? No. I don't know what could be interpreted that way, but it's not how we meant it. So no, rollers and skip aces are definitely allowed. So okay, I'm gonna hop off to tend to whatever's going on with my dog. Sorry that this one's a little bit of a quicker stream, but hopefully my dog is okay. Just had surgery last week, so we're gonna figure out how whatever happened. But all right, appreciate y'all. I'll talk to you again next week.